So what's the Eitzah? After having explained Moves and then Ra, Pare and then Pa'ir. So the Eitzah is Vaneshev Bagoy Mul Beis Pa'ir. We settled in the valley opposite Pa'ir. So this inyan of a valley, that's the Eitzah. He's going to explain. He started to explain already. He made an interesting observation about the difference between a valley and a mountain. Anybody? At the top of the page.
A mountain is tall and you can see far. In a valley, even if it's big, you can't see things that are within it.
Yeah, just to tweak that a bit. So mountain, even a small thing on it, you can see from far, and a valley, even a big thing, you can't see. Even if it's large, you cannot see it. Okay, so let's begin with Inyan. Again at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines from the bottom, from the top. First where the line begins, Vehester. Not V'inyan, V'hainu, sorry. V'hainu, she'inyan ha'gayu moshel. So the valley that's concealed is a moshel for b'china stimu d'chol stimin. He doesn't explain why it's not just stimu, hidden, but hidden from hidden. Maybe it does now, the next words. Shemiyoyse dover godol. So if it would be, he seems to be saying this perhaps, if it would just be hidden, so a big thing you'd still notice. But Shemiyoyse dover godol, even if the thing there is very big, Hari behel and behester, it's still concealed. Okay, still tzorchi and how it fits exactly with the gashmis of a valley. It depends how deep, I guess. Gai means a very deep valley. At any rate, so ad shenikra b'shem ayin, the thing that is concealed there is so concealed that it's no thing. You have no grasp of it at all, no relationship with it consciously at all. Bira inyan, so now he begins now a whole beer and arichus in das elyon das tachten. In Eksiv, so the pasuk says, Kel deus havaya. God is the God of knowledges. Knowledges. What's the plural? So it says the Zohar deus train. Kedis mitikun is there two knowledges. Das elyon kefishum lamata. So there's the upper knowledge, which is the view from above, mitzad mashpia, and then das tachten, and the lower view, kefishum lamata lamayla mitzad makabel, from the perspective of the recipient. What's the difference? Mitzad mashpia dehu shemashe nimshach lamakabel. The mashpia knows. We're talking about a mashpia that's completely beyond the makabel, so he knows that what he's giving, what he's giving is only the merest reflection, to the extent that what is being mashpia is psoilus, and the whole, here we've been giving the maimetil now, the ashpah, that comes through the kravayim as a result of the rakia, it ends up as psoilus relative to the original ashpah, to the tanugim alyonim. So that's the mashpia's perspective. So for the mashpia, what's true? What is? He has the objective perspective on things, and the truth is where it is. L'mayla eitzel mashpia. Mashenken eitzel makabel. What is ilahipech? It's the opposite. Shenyan shemayvin omasi. It's a marshal here of. Even Ashbah Seichel. What would be the psoilus? L'cherish, a marshal, a simple marshal, would be the psoilus of the Seichel. L'chora. At any rate, by the Makabel, had is a lahipach. Sha'inyan shemayvin u'masik, that which he grasps and experiences, the Yosef be'araka begidre mitzir shalei, since it's in his world, and it comes in his realm, so that is reality. Nikla etz b'shem yesh, that's something. say the language is using here is very fluid. It's not seichel, talking about Isavus, which is really the subject matter here is Isavus, is creation. So the source that creates, Mahava brings into being, Mechavi, enlivens, Mekayim, sustains, it's three pratim and Isavus, Nikra Etze B'Shem Ayin, he calls that no thing. Shalachem Nikra Kol Etzin HaBriya V'Ishtal Shalus Mayin Le'yesh Esvai. Yeah, Mr. My creation, that Briya is from nothing to something. Hainu Shalamatu Vayesh, the reality, the something is here. V'Amalka Nikra B'Shem Ayin, why do we call it nothing? But it's no thing we can relate to. Given She'enu Musik, it's hidden, it's not grasped. The Yosef Stimmer is hidden from us. V'ad L'Stimmer L'Chol Stimmer. He's not Ma'arich Pratim, but hidden from the hidden. The creative force is hidden from the hidden. What's the hidden? Anybody want to venture? We learned about this, but what is Mechlal? What would you think is the level of Stimur? What's Stimur the Cholstin? What would you think? Is which one? Are you saying one is Stimur, one is Stimur the Cholstin? Okay, that means we could pick a lot of levels. But in general, it's Oir versus Etzem. But Etzem is very relative. This Etzem or Oir is dargis in Oir that carry properties of Etzem like Tainug does, for example. But that's the general difference. Gvul, Bligvul, or Oir, and then the Etzem, which is even hidden from Bligvul. It's a big, broad, relative term. Everything is relative. We're all related. Okay, weiter, let's go further. So, it's called hidden, and even stimmer the chostim, and it could be hinting to the point that Ishavas Mamish of the Yesha Gashmi is what, without Rabbi say the famous Perek Lamed in Tanya. Ishavas Gashmi is only Becheka Atzmus to create Mamish Yesh Ma'ayin, as opposed to Ishtalshlis, which is Oyer, which is Tzimtzum, to agree Ilav Olav. Not Yesh Ma'ayin, it's Ilav Olav, Ishtalshlis. Although in general he describes Ishtalshlis as Yesh Ma'ayin, so again, relative. But the emes of Yesh Ma'ayin is with the emergence of Gashmius Mamish, which cannot devolve from Ruchnis, no matter how limited Ruchnis is, and you mitzamtzim it, it will never become a Dava Gashmi. No matter how you simplify an idea, it's never going to become something physical. Even in our own world, you see that. A simple idea to never all of a sudden become something physical and tangible. So that step from Ruchnis to Gashmis, which is only the Elam Hazeh, that is Keicha Atzmos, that's the true Yesh Ma'ayin, that's the Mechalal, the Stimmer, the Chol Stimmer, the second Darge. Stimmer, the Etzem, that's where it's expressed in the Yesh Ma'ayin Mamash of Elam Hazeh. Whereas in the Savas of Ishtalshus, it's more Stimmer, because it's Ilav Olav. Even in the Pnimius, it's not, because even Oyer is a radical. Oyer is not a natural expression of Atzmos, that's also as a result of a Tzimtzum. First there's Moir, and then there's Oyer. You follow what I'm saying? I'm talking in the Luften.
Yes, you're talking in the Luften, yes, I understand what you're saying.
Stimmer, the Chol Stimmer. Okay. Okay, we'll go further. Yeah. Haino. Yeah. V'hinei kol. Yeah, but it has a place v'hinei. More than halfway down. V'hinei kol zman shav. So now avodah. Kol zman shavida sa'od him mitzad das tachten. So as long as the avodah of a person is mitzad das tachten. He lives in the world of das tachten. That's his attitude. So he feels his mitzius. On the contrary, I mean, this is just the natural reality. Moka Mahava, Ubchinas Ayin, what that which he creates me doesn't deny it, but it's completely Ayin, understands it, that it must be, but it's Ayin for him, unrelatable to, for Stimba and hidden, Va'ad Stimba the Chol Stimba, and then doubly hidden. What's the umazeh of Stimba the Chol Stimba? Not just Choshech, but a Choshech Chopel Umachupel, a double. That's actually double, redoubled. But anyway, double Choshech. It's one thing that there's darkness, there's a double darkness. What's the difference?
You don't realize that it's there.
He doesn't even know there's Zohar. Choshech is a Choshech, but there's a matzah somewhere there's Zohar. There's some relationship therefore to it. In the sense, therefore, that the Choshech is not all that concealing, because there's reality where the godliness is revealed. When it's Choshech, Kofel Mechupel, he thinks the Choshech is Ur. So as a Eine Yochel Levatel, so when that's Das Tachten, that it's basic level. So the Yochel Levatel, such a person, such a matzah, is all to explain Vaneshev Bagoy, Mul Beis Pa'ir. So such a matzah is not able to mevatel, to neutralize lakir, to uproot, or the shorish, in other words, to uproot. Remove akir is to remove, and the shorish is to uproot. Tahainu bittul betachlis klippus pa'ir. Such a matzah is no match for pa'ir. Why not? See, Rabbi spells it out to us. Given shekololas hashefa shenishpal tachtei minyan shometzias v'yesh. So since the dashbar that comes to Tachtonim is in a way of giving rise to Metzias and the Yesh, he's Das Tachton, he's a Metzias. And we said before how things descend from them. Zenim Sheches, Abor Gam Apselas, Ba'ofen Shal Ilul Va'olul, and so the whole process there by this is Ishtalshalos. The Pselis is produced through the process of Ilul Va'olul, they Bir Akavai Melyonim, through talking the Maila, the Bir the Malachim. So, if you're part of Ishtalshalos, then you're part of the problem. That's the matzah. So, you cannot uproot Klippas Pa'ir, because Klippas Pa'ir is just a little bit worse, maybe the same as me, but it's my world. You follow what he's saying? That's his world. He's part of the whole Indian. Okay, so it's not right now. He's not pa'ir. It's not mamish defecation, make a total fool of himself in front of the David Zora. But if he says matzav at the best of times is that Gashmis is metzius, psoilus is real, then pa'ir is a natural result, and so you can not be involved right now. But mevatel, you can't be mevatel it. It lurks, it's present. So therefore, to uproot it, remove and uproot it. So liyas mul keneged to be opposite, to be opposed to it, to be in opposition of it truly, to truly be in defiance of pa'ir. So it can't be if his matzav is a matzav of yeshes. But it's got to be, which means again that Pasha, it means his ego is number one. So that's not going to work. How does it dafka yedeva neisha bagoy? So he says the only way is when he dwells is bisyashvus and the pnimius bagoy in the valley liyas dira visyashvus. That's when they shiv. Not that he flirts with the idea. He knows it's intellectually, but it has to be, he says, bisyashvus. The p'chines ayin in the level of ayin. And what's ayin, as we said before, shebehel and behester be'mekagoy, that is, we call it ayin, but that's where he is, completely concealed in the depth of the valley. Hainu sha'adam lamata, this address what we were talking about yesterday, because yesterday remember we were saying, something about Manasseh Yichya, Wayamuna, Yediyah. He said clearly it's Yediyah. We explained to try to why he looks in Munah. When we're talking, the whole point is Yediyah. He has to understand. That's the whole heart of Anya of the Chassidus, davening. That's the meaning of the pasuk. But it says we dwelt. What has to be internalized? MSC, at least intellectually, he has to know it. That the truth is, not the lower perspective. That's not the objective truth. Like the upper perspective, what's real is the course. What's your chai? It's not the pseudos, but avay lekecha. So such an avodah, that is mul, that stands in opposition, and that's the antidote. This bittul that starts in seichel, das elyon, easier said than done, friends, right? Nasa mul beis ba'or. There, then he stands in opposition to beis ba'or. Shemevatel va'oiker u'mesharish es ha'inyan de ba'or. So 3 dargas. He neutralizes it, but it's still there, and then he removes it, and then he uproots it. That uprooting implies that this will never rear its ugly head again. And that all happens, shalei lases iker min apsoilis, not to make an iker from the residual, from the tainu gashmi. And gashmi is vacha iker v'shadish gamis inyan amoves. So not only does he remove the pa'or, the pa'or is the disease-carrying fly that spreads disease everywhere, or other such creatures. That's pa'or, but even the union of pa'or that starts the whole thing, the moves, just the doimim, just gashmis itself, just innocently leave me alone, enjoying my life, not bad in any way, not hurting anybody. Life is good. He is oiked that as well. That's moves. Pa'or she'iyeh rak inyan achayim, and he's megala emes a life, she'zeh inyan avay lekecha hu chayecha. What's your chayes is a likus. Okay, but now further in Avodah, so the outline, thankfully, the Rebbe continues for us in Avodah Izayim. Yeah? You will no doubt recall that several times we encountered in the Memorim, the Rebbe quotes from Kuntrus Mayan, the person can't fool himself. Yichuda Ilah is Avidas Tzadikim Gedolim, obviously. And Yehuda Tatar, that's our world. But the reality is it all starts with consciousness, with itself. And that's the Metzius. But he says there in Kunter Samayan, and don't fool yourself. Nonetheless, Misman Lizman, the person has to entertain Yehuda. Rebbe Kochzach in that. Which, as he said here now, in Seichel he has to know it. To say that he's going to feel the kus and that's it. We're not fooling ourselves. But the hanocha, the understanding, and that is hammered home through with every mimer, one way or another. And the more he learns it, and the more he's immersed in it, the more it will lift him to the truth of ki avay lekecha hu chayecha. Zman, the person has to, Tanya, has to, in seichel, more than Zman, the emes is really every day in Krishma. As we'll learn further between Krishma and Tefillah and Torah, we'll see it now. The Yichudi Allah has to be actually to this front and center in terms of where the Seichel lies. The heart is Yichudi Tata, it's reality. But the Seichel has to know that's the constant tension, struggle between the heart and the mind. So let's begin. Beer, yeah, a little bit here. Chiluk, Beis Adeh Sanal. Looks like there's quite a foundational line with this. So to understand these 2 days and Avodah and Klolas Achiluk is in the general distinction should be in Bezi Fanei Avodah the Krishma Tefillah. Between Krishma and Tefillah. You've behektem atmiyah shematzil bekrishma betefillah Bezi Afachim. This we understood by first prefacing something that is wondrous, not understood. In Krishma, in terms of the 2 extremes, meaning, he'll explain what he means by that. where the two extremes come together. Ta'afshek Krishma minat Torah. So here's Krishna minat Torah. That's one extreme. Minat Torah, Chiv minat Torah means it's the most Chiv minat Torah. Mashiach get tefillin with Rabbanon. Tefillah is only with Rabbanon. Therefore, they put tefillah secondary. They're extremes. They're two extremes. Kedas Rova Poskim, like most Poskim Paskim, that tefillah is with Rabbanon. Geen person can marazak Meshulchan Aruch. It's halariches, as addressed in Derech Mitzvah. Become Boker, so tefillah. Yeah, that's on the one hand. So what's higher? Krishma, obviously, greater, more significant. Because Mokim Dafka Tefillah Tzarich Liyas Mu'umet. Only davening has to be standing. But Tzarich Liyas Bar Kriyas and Vishtachavos and has to be bowing, and the Kriyas with the knee, Vishtachavos with the head. Kareya B'Baruch, he bends his knees by the word Baruch, and then his Mishtachav by the word Ato. Hashem can Krishma, but Krishma Hashem Bar Kriyas Vishtachavos. There's no kneeing and bowing. You don't have to say it standing. You can say it as you're going along the way. As you go along the way, that's the halacha. And furthermore, yet on the other hand, someone is Torah, so Krishma is less, because we can see in the way the halacha treats it, but it's midday rice, and therefore, mafsik Krishma, even someone whose sole occupation is Torah, must read Krishma, even a master the tefillah. He doesn't stop for tefillah except once in 30 days, whatever it is. So we see that in these respects it is stricter, that you interrupt, and yet the way we daven doesn't reflect that. Yet the way we go about davening lepeil, where do we see the greater bittul, as it were, the high, the stricter davening is dafke, not in Krishma, but in Tefillah. How could this be? It's a tremendous paradox. It's deraisa. You stop even if terasei menasei, and yet the way you daven, you can be sitting, walking, even lying on the side if necessary, but not so shmonesi. So for Yuvan, we'll stop here, and we'll. No, okay, we can add a few lines. So we understood what we just learned down the previous us. Being killed there, Savaya, base is two perspectives, das Tachten and das Elim. Shehem, they are base, they're both concurrent and necessary avodas, a funny avodah of Kriyashma Utfila. Then we'll see there's the third avodah of Torah. So now we made a beautiful explanation and what to think about in davening. If you thought this whole mind before you davened, it'd be a good matzav. And whole davening would be different. So Krishma is yichud, declares God's unity. Both Yichud Tatov, Yichud Ilah, as he says in Zohar, Hol Yichud is based on this, that Shema Yisrael is Yichud Ilah, and Baruch Shem Kved Malchusa is Yichud Tatov. I know, so I'm bringing to bear everything we learned till now. I guess we'll stop here. That's all Arichis and Be'ezer Hashem on Monday.